September 15, 2020, and we are here for a town meeting and a regular scheduled CBA meeting. As always, we will begin with the pledge. Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Frank.
And in keeping with our tradition of having a faith-based invocation, today we have with us Reverend Brooke Evans from the Wading River Baptist Church. Thank you, Reverend.
Yes.
Brooke, if you're with us in the meeting room, if you could please unmute yourself. Brooke or Brock? Brock. Sorry, Brock.
Reverend Brock Evans, are you with us? Okay,
All right.
so if he's having technical difficulties, maybe, Jody, did you just want to say a quick, indication? Good. You're the senior council member. You always say you've been here for a long time, so there you go.
Junior in years, though.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, watch over this meeting. Give us the patience to resolve the town issues and do what's in the best interest of the town of Riverhead for all of its residents. We thank you for this great town and for all of its resources and for all of its productivity in our farms and our businesses and our residents. And we thank you every day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen, thank you, Jody.
Jody
Well
on the
done,
spot.
you see that? She got caught off guard and she
How
recovered
many
very
years
well.
of Catholic school?
Yeah, it paid off. All right, before we get started with the meeting agenda, we have just one announcement. As most of you know by now, while we remain under the state of emergency due to COVID-19, all public participation in town meetings and public hearings will be accomplished through Zoom. Accordingly, the public may watch through channel 22 and log into the town website, or using Zoom with the meeting credentials that was posted today on the town website. Moving forward, can I have a first and a second to close the town board meeting and open the CBA meeting?
Motion. Second.
A-Rod,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
The town board meeting is closed and the CBA meeting is now open.
Dawn, can you please come up to the podium?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We need a motion to approve the CDA minutes of the regular meeting of August 18th, 2020 at 2 p.m. We need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
So moved. Oh. Please vote.
Giglio.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, the minutes are approved, and then I think we can take comments on the resolutions 2020-7 and 2020-8 if there are any.
Okay, does anyone?
Sorry, I'm gonna get in here. So before we take any comments, I'm gonna just make a quick announcement. Everybody in the meeting room can hear me, right, Chip? Okay. So, members of the public are reminded that comments may be heard on public hearings, resolutions, and open comments on any matter related to the town. Further, while we remain under a state of emergency due to COVID-19 and public participation during town board and CDA meetings is being accomplished via Zoom, comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note, the 5-minute comment period is just that. It is a 5-minute window in which members of the public may let their voices be heard on a subject or subjects but it is not a forum for back and forth dialogue, questioning, and debate. Once called upon and unmuted, members of the public must state their name and hamlet, then will have 5 minutes to speak. Once finished, or after 5 minutes has passed, whichever happens first, that person will be placed back on mute, and members of the town board may or may not respond directly to those comments. While New York State open meetings law clearly states that it does not require the public body to offer the public an opportunity to be heard, this administration seeks to let the public be heard despite the limitations posed by COVID-19. So, having said that, we'll now see who in the meeting room would like to make a comment.
Raise your hand, please.
Okay, you confirm that these are for CDA. Okay, John McAuliffe, if you could unmute yourself, please. No, this is, I don't think this is, John, did you want to comment on one of the resolutions before CDA
No,
today?
no,
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 okay,
I would
okay,
speak during the
got it, no problem, thank you.
public
You can mute
comment
him,
period
mute him.
after,
Okay.
as
Got it,
part
thank
of the
you.
CDA meeting.
Okay, so, looks like there's nobody in the meeting room that's looking to comment on any of the,
There's
We do
one
have
person
somebody.
waving.
okay, who's that in the corner? Can you see what it says in the screen, Chip? I can't read the name.
It has to be directed to the CDA resolution.
Oh, okay, Mr. Foley. You can unmute yourself, please, sir?
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Maybe I'm speaking on the wrong resolution. I had a
First, we need your
comment
name and
on
hamlet,
Resolution
please, for the record.
474.
We need your name and hamlet, please, for the record.
John, your name and hamlet for the record, although we know who you are. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
You're off mute.
Sorry about that,
Okay,
if
no
I'm
problem.
still on. This Zoom thing is still kind of new for me.
Okay.
Was this strictly about the public hearing today or about all the resolutions that are about to be voted on?
So right now, we're taking comments on any of the CDA resolutions that are before us today. Just the CDA, there are only 2 resos, so if you want to make a comment on one of those 2, we're happy to take you now.
No, I'm gonna wait for
Okay.
the other resolutions.
Okay.
Sorry to take up your time. Thank
Okay.
you.
No
No problem.
problem.
So is that it for any, we have somebody there? Kelly McClinchy, did you want to make a comment on a CDA resolution? You can unmute yourself.
Hi, I just have a question for you. In the second resolution.
All right, Kelly, just give us your name, please, your full name and your hamlet for the
Oh.
transcriptionist.
Sorry, Kelly McClinchy, Manorville. In the second resolution, regarding the Naval Weapons Industrial Reserve Pit in Calverton, it states that the portion of the property to which access is required is marked on the attached maps. There are no attached maps to be seen.
We can get that to you as soon as I get back to my office. It came with the access agreement.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yep, thank you. Any other CDA resolution comments? Okay,
Okay, see no one?
so we'll call the resolutions. The first one is CDA 2020-7, authorizes the chairperson to execute an agreement for Eagle Scout project at Wells Family Cemetery. Need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
Please vote.
We have Giglio,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Bayrat,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. And resolution CDA 2020-8 authorizes the chairperson to sign consent to access to property agreement to allow Department of Navy access for purposes of additional investigation regarding the release of per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. I think that's PFAS, if I'm not incorrect. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. Please vote.
Bayrat,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, and that concludes the resolutions of the CDA. I guess we can take open comments from the public on CDA matters.
Raise your hand, please, if you have, any comments on the two resolutions that are before us concerning the CDA.
These are open comments for the CDA.
Oh, okay, open comments?
Right, so any CDA matter? People looking to make a comment?
No hands?
I think, John McAuliffe, you had indicated in the chat feature before you wanted to make a comment.
In the general.
The CDA? I think he had
said
indicated.
CDA general.
Okay, CDA general, okay, so you wanna unmute him? John, can you hear us now? Unmute. Unmute,
Me, there, I got it.
there you go, perfect.
Okay,
Hi, John, if you could just state your name and hamlet for the
yes,
record,
certainly.
please, and make
Yeah.
all of your comments in the 5-minute allotment, and then the town
Gotcha.
board can respond afterwards. Thank you.
gotcha. John McAuliffe from the Rolling Woods section of Riverhead. This is a comment personally, not on behalf of Cal Watch. I sent a message to all of the members of the board right after, last week after the Newsday article appeared on the Shinnecock Nation announcing a deal with Seminole Hard Rock for a casino venture. In that story, it makes reference to Calverton, or EPCAL is one of the potential sites that's been discussed in the past. And I simply, in my message, asked if this, there also has now been a very interesting Riverhead local article by Greg, and I think the two of them are reason to ask again what has been dismissed in the past as unnecessary fear to get some clarity about where you stand as members of the board concerning the possibility of gambling at EPCAL, your personal opinion about whether it would be a good or bad thing, and as regards the policy of the town on having gambling at EPCAL. And then related to that is whether there is anything in the contract that was signed with Calverton Aviation and Technology, with the Germasians and with Daniel Preston, that would prevent them, once they own the land, from deciding that they wanted to use it for that purpose in association with the Shinnecocks. Or whether, that is, if there's anything inherent, the way there is an inherent prohibition to housing, specifically in the contract, is there any specific prohibition to use of part or all of the land for a gambling casino? Or is there anything to prohibit them from reselling the land to the Shinnecocks and to the Seminole company for that purpose? And then finally, if there is nothing in the contract that prohibits that, is that a reason to again move to terminate the contract and clear this bad document off of the books and have a fresh discussion of what ought to happen on the land? So that's basically it, and as I say, you've had the letter for about 10 days. If you've had a chance to think about it, I'd love to hear it, but if another time is more convenient for you to express your opinion, that's also fine. The other thing I would note is that the Germasians, that is their company 555, 6 months ago or so, put out essentially what was a feeler offering the services of their company to First Nations in the US and Canada, and their willingness to collaborate with them and provide assistance to them for the purpose of casino gambling. So this is not just a theoretical issue.
Okay, John, are you finished with comments?
Yes, I'm finished. I
Okay.
made it within, thank you.
You did, 4 minutes, great. Okay, Chip, you
Okay,
can mute him?
John, thank you. The EPCAL land is zoned for high-tech jobs and industrial jobs, and the casino is out of the question. It's not an option. I understand that you constantly have concerns concerning CAT's financial, standing. That is something that once we get through the process that we signed off in the contract, and we have to make every effort, to complete the subdivision. After that, it'll be CAT's turn for us to look at their financials. Anybody else Jody, did you wanna add to?
I just wanna say, we found them qualified and eligible on what they told us at the hearing that they were going to do. And anything outside of that scope is not what we found them qualified and eligible to do, or not something that this town wants or considered during that 4-month period that we were going through the qualified and eligible. That's what qualified and eligible hearings are for. They're for an applicant that is interested in working with the town in an urban renewal area to tell us what they wanna do for the property, and it's up to the town to decide. The previous town board decided that a ski mountain instead of a racetrack might be more suitable, but if the people that were proposing the ski mountain came in later and said, we changed our mind, we wanna build the racetrack, it would have to go back for another qualified and eligible hearing, because that's not what they testified to during that process. So, we're basing what they said that they were going to build and what we found them qualified and eligible for, basing it on the testimony that they gave through that long process.
Okay. So, moving forward, next comment?
Okay, anybody else in the meeting room wanna make a comment on any other CDA matter?
Okay.
He's already commented, Chip. Okay, I think that's it, Supervisor.
Okay, seeing no one else making a comment, can I have a first and a second to close the CDA meeting and continue on with the town board meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Please vote.
Sorry about that. Bayrock,
Yes.
Catherine Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes,
Aguirre.
Yes.
The CDA meeting is closed and the town board meeting is open.
Okay, great. We are now resuming our town board meeting. Diane, can you please, report on any communications or reports?
Sure. Get my paperwork here. Okay, I'll do the reports first, because that's the easy part. The building department submitted their August monthly report, $66,987. Tax receiver submitted the August 2020 utility collection report, $323,826.78. Town clerk, the August monthly report was $11,838.55. Now, under correspondence, we had 7 letters concerning the public hearing of the moratorium that happened, I believe, at the September 1st meeting. 2 of those letters, I don't know if you want me to read who they were from, would you want that?
Yeah, just read where
Sure.
they're from.
Nature Conservancy, Barbara Blass, Young Summer, who is representative for Riverhead Solar 2 LLC, U.S. Green Building Council, Long Island Chapter, Riverhead Environmental Advisory Committee. There were 23 various signatures from local organizations who sent a letter. Let me see, I'm sorry. And the Greater Calverton Civic Association. The Riverhead Environmental and the Calverton Civic Association, within their letters, they touched on 2 other issues also, aside from the moratorium. Their concerns were with other projects in the industrial and farmland zoned area of Calverton. Greater Calverton Civic referenced the master plan and other development projects,
Okay.
so their letters were of various issues. There were 2 letters from John McAuliffe, both concerning the EPCAL property,
Okay.
and with regard to casino gambling, one of them. William Van Helmen sent 2 letters, one with concern of the EPCAL property, the contract with the EPCAL property in 555,
And his other letter was concerning ambulance services for the Jamesport area. And I think that's all I have.
And with regard to that, last year during the budget, I did try to get the $30,000 into the budget for the ambulance services in Jamesport, and it was not approved to get put into the budget. So hopefully in this budget cycle, it will be in there. The budget from last year, before this supervisor, the last administration refused to put the $30,000 into the budget. So we tried to get it in, right, Tim?
Correct.
Great, thank you, Diane.
Okay, you're welcome.
Moving forward, we have one public hearing to be held today, scheduled for 2:10. It is now 2:28.
Is that the gavel?
Yeah.
I haven't heard the gavel since Sean Walters.
I used it before.
I can hear a couple times.
I used it before. We are opening a public hearing for the amendment to the, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. Dawn Thomas, our CDA director, is here to briefly explain this, item to the public. Dawn, please, come forward.
Good afternoon. We had initially, in that budget, had set aside an $8,000 grant for a community service group, which subsequently came and advised us that they were unable to accept the funding. So we then needed to redirect that funding. So we are asking to budget transfer that back to our park and playground, or park and pedestrian improvements line. That is all.
You have a letter from them in writing saying that they couldn't take the funding?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Okay. Do any members of the public wish to be heard on this resolution?
Anybody in the meeting room want to make a comment
Raise your
on this
hand.
public hearing? Not seeing anybody?
Okay, hearing no one, moving forward.
Okay.
Any town board members want to comment on this? We're okay to move forward?
No?
Okay, great. Okay, we'll now close this public section of this hearing, and we'll leave it open for 10 days until 4:30 PM on September 25th at the town clerk's office. This concludes the public hearing portion of the meeting. We will now move on to the public comments on resolutions before us today. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard concerning, comments on the resolutions only? Please raise your hand. Okay, I think we have one hand raised
Okay.
on the lower left.
Right, so I think it's Foley, looking to make a comment on resolutions before us today. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, good afternoon. Mike Foley from Reeves Park.
Mike, let me just interrupt you and just, Mike, Mike, hold on a sec. I just want to remind you, you have 5 minutes to speak, so you can say everything that you want to say in the 5 minutes. After that point, the town board can respond, all right?
Sure. I heard it the first time, but sure. Resolution 474
Okay.
about the moratorium on commercial solar energy development. I read it and I was just a little bit confused. If it's voted on in the affirmative today, it is effective today and it's good until September the 15th, 2021?
No, it's only good once it gets filed with the Secretary of the State. Whatever date that is, it would be 12 months from that date.
Okay, thanks for that. And it talks about 2020. Is this, if it is filed, approved retroactive to January the 1st, 2020?
No.
Bob, can you come up, because I know you created the resolution, as far as that date in January. I know that we asked at one point, but we'll have you,
Do we maybe want to just let Mike make all of his comments? Mike, did you have any other comments you wanted to make?
Well, I wanted to know, I think there are 2 applications that have been approved for some fairly substantially sized solar facilities in the Calverton area. I trust that has been, I trust that has been approved and that's moving forward, exclusive of this. And I wanted to know if there were any applications since January that were in contemplation of approval before you looking to pass this moratorium.
Okay, is that it? Any other comments you wanted to make?
That's it, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Bob, can you, further describe the date, the
Yeah, so-
January date?
I'm hoping that the microphone is working. There was a couple questions. One, which Councilman Hubbard did a great job responding to. The question of when does the 12-month date start? It's effective upon filing with the Department of State, and it'll run 12 months from that date, and that'll be the effective period of time for the moratorium. The January 1, 2020 date is a date to define what applications were being excluded from the catchment of this moratorium. And there are no applications that have come in since January 1 of 2020. The two that are out there that we may hear more comment about are the Nextera application, which was made to the town before January 1st of 2020, and the Article 10 proceeding, which is the Riverhead Solar 2 project, which is presently proceeding before the New York State Siting Board. There have been no further applications that have come in since that date that I'm aware of.
And I don't think that there are any power purchase agreements out with LIPA and PSE&G at the current time, is there? Or LIPA, I should say.
I don't believe that there is, that's correct.
Right, because how that works is back in, I think it was in 2015, based on state mandates that LIPA become renewable, they had to have a certain percentage that had to be renewable by a certain year. I think it's 2025 now, they extended it. But then solar companies would go in and they would show LIPA that they secured land and that they are proposing this project, and then LIPA would then choose out of those applicants which one would get the power purchase agreement with LIPA to get the money. But I've been told that they used to pay 22 cents a kilowatt hour, and now that's down to like, it's dropping and declining more and more. So as the cost of the land keeps going up and the amount that LIPA is willing to pay for the power is going down, I think that it's almost at its maximum here anyway. But we have not received any applications since January 1st, 2020, and I don't think that LIPA has an RFQ out for power purchase agreements for applicants to say that they want to bid on land to put solar on.
Okay, any other comments on the resolutions before us? Okay, we have one person raising their hand towards the
Okay.
middle of the screen.
So, Long Island Progressive Coalition, if you could unmute yourself, you could state your name and hamlet for the record, and you have 5 minutes, please, to make any comments to the board, after which they'll respond to your comments. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Ryan Madden. I'm the sustainability organizer for the Long Island Progressive Coalition, and we're based in Massapequa, but have members and supporters in Riverhead. We're a grassroots community-based organization founded in 1979 that works on local, state, and national issues, and germane to this conversation around a just transition to 100% renewable energy future. So we first want to thank you for your previous leadership in making the town of Riverhead a driver for clean, renewable energy. And so then want to express our concern about the proposal under consideration to issue this moratorium. We think it would set the town back, be at odds with the statewide mandates under the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, and negatively impact the town's economy through job and revenue losses. I think especially as local governments struggle with major budget crunches and millions are out of work, solar offers a critical opportunity to help rebuild our local economies. And actually over the last few years, as a part of our nonprofit solar campaign, the Long Island Progressive Coalition has provided low-cost solar solutions to the First Baptist Church of Riverhead and Grace Episcopal Church in Riverhead, which have helped save these institutions $11,600 and $15,000 respectively each year on their energy costs. And moving forward on this commercial solar energy moratorium would jeopardize the opportunity for similar community organizations to realize the environmental benefits of solar, the perks of energy independence, and the associated cost savings. We find that troubling and unfair, especially with the decline of residential solar installations as a result of COVID, along with other economic hardships initiated by this crisis. We believe we need to be supporting our nonprofit organizations and houses of worship, developing these types of commercial renewable energy projects, and investing in good green jobs as a way to spur the industry and tackle the climate crisis, which will continue to impact us long after this public health crisis. So we believe that solar energy must be accessible for everyone, especially for houses of worship, nonprofit organizations, and affordable housing developments. We're actually exploring a project with an affordable housing development in Riverhead, which would be unattainable under a commercial moratorium, needlessly denying this institution and its residents the benefits of renewable energy resources at a time when we must be doubling down in our efforts to support such initiatives. As written, the resolution would prevent community-driven projects mentioned above, which we find unacceptable. If this, what we believe to be ill-advised proposal is going to move forward, it should at least explicitly include exemptions for rooftop solar for community organizations and affordable housing developments. We want you to vote no on this moratorium for all of the reasons stated above, and to echo, we were a signatory to the letter with 20 plus other organizations and signatories around it, so the reasons outlined there below we support, but just to say again, if you're unswayed by the arguments in that letter, which again are supported by dozens of organizations and institutions along with countless community members, then please at the very least ensure that the exemption of rooftop and canopy projects that can service nonprofit organizations, houses of worship, and affordable housing developments. There's no need to make this as sweeping and all-encompassing as the resolution is currently written.
Okay. Mr. Madden, is that it? You have any more comments to add? Okay. Looks like he's all finished.
Okay, anyone else to comment before the resolutions? We have one hand.
I can't, what does it say, Chip? Sharon? If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Karen.
Okay.
Sharon, if you could please, let me just stop you a second. If you could just state your name, please, and your hamlet for the record, and we'll give you 5 minutes to make any comments you want to make today.
Okay. My name is Sharon Dunnigan. I'm in the town of Riverhead in the hamlet of Calverton. And I wanted to speak to the solar moratorium. As it's written, it does not include the NextEra and the Solar 2 project. And I would like to recommend that it would be rewritten to include those projects. And after listening to the gentleman for the Citizens Campaign for the Environment, also include rooftop solar as well as community-based solar benefits. I think that there are some things that we can do to welcome solar into our community. From my perspective, I'm not opposed to solar development, but I am looking for ways to incorporate solar development into our communities in a more amiable way and make it a benefit to our community instead of an eyesore. So I would wish that you would rewrite the moratorium to include the NextEra and Solar 2 just to take a breath so we could potentially incorporate some new language that would allow those projects to move forward in a manner that enhances our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the meeting room want to make a comment? Looks like it's Francesca. If you can unmute yourself. Please state your name and hamlet for the record, and again, 5 minutes to make all your comments. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Francesca Rhiannon. I live in East Hampton in the hamlet of Springs. I'm a member of the Peconic Climate Reality Project chapter, and I'm also on the East Hampton Sustainability Advisory Committee. As a member of the East Hampton Energy Sustainability Advisory Committee, we in East Hampton are looking to develop CCA, community choice aggregation, that will help us in our mix of clean energy. And one of the things that we've been talking a lot about is joining with the other 5 towns in the Peconic region here, including Riverhead, for community choice aggregation so that we have a larger more bargaining power as a group of towns than as just one town, so that we can source renewable energy in a cheaper way. And I really feel that to put a moratorium on solar energy at a time when we can all see what the fallout of not going to renewable energy is. I mean, we see the wildfires raging, the hurricanes raging. We all have to step up and do our part to move as rapidly as possible to clean energy. I would be very concerned if this moratorium goes through, because it really kind of cuts off at the knees the capability of us on the East End to join together and move more swiftly to renewable energy sources that will improve our health and will give us a chance at trying to tackle the climate emergency. So I'm just really hoping that the town of Riverhead will continue to go forward instead of backward, because people are not going to give up their power. The alternative sources are fossil fuels. Solar energy is cheaper than fossil fuel at this point, so there are economic benefits, there are employment benefits, and there are pollution benefits, and I really cannot understand why a moratorium would be contemplated at a time when we want to make this transition much more quickly than we already have. Thank you for your consideration, and those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Francesca?
And I could just add that legally, we have to exclude any projects that are in the pipeline. And Bob, can I ask you a question? In the prior resolution that I saw, it did identify the two projects as being excluded, and what I see before me, it's not on here.
No, it did not specifically name them, but the language is still the same. It excluded them by reference.
Okay. So it does exclude them, and does anyone want to add any comments?
No,
Chris?
I'll save mine for the vote.
Anybody?
I want to hear from everybody first.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it may be that, so one of the limitations of Zoom is that if they're coming in via a phone number, they're using the phone, they're not using, if they dialed in, they can't unmute themselves. So we're going to go ahead and unmute the phone number that has
You want to read it out?
called in. Last digits are, what is that, Chip? 1714. So you are unmuted, 1714. Did you want to make a comment on any of the resolutions before us today?
They have to ID themselves?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, and if you could
Can
state
you
your
hear
name
me?
and Hamlet for the record, and please, if you would limit your comments to 5 minutes. We're going to give everybody 5 minutes to make their comments, and then the town board can respond after that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, my name is Barbara Blast, and I live in Jamesport. As you know, I was unable to read my comments into the record during the public hearing on this matter. That detailed statement of opposition to the moratorium was submitted electronically to the clerk. For the record, it was not the first time I had difficulty participating in a meeting. In addition to those previously submitted comments, however, at this time, I suggest that this local law as written is both vague and ineffective. Article 52, which was adopted in 2014 without any real comprehensive land use study, also fails to define a commercial solar energy production system. It's not defined by acreage. It is not defined by nameplate capacity. Thus, confusion abounds, as evident in the letters received by the town, which states concerns that the moratorium prohibits solar panels on residential rooftops, as well as commercial, industrial, and other buildings, as we heard in earlier commentary today. If that is not your intent, this local law needs to be clarified by amending to specifically exclude those types of installations. The town code currently provides for a fast-track, reduced fee, and expedited review process for residential solar installations. We are a solar-friendly community. With respect to its efficacy, the proposed local law states, quote, approved and pending applications will encompass 660 acres of land in the Calverton zip code, with a large portion of that 660 acres being lands that are now or were in the past used for agricultural production, close quote. It seems as though this is of concern to the town. However, whether the moratorium is approved or not, that number won't change because the local law exempts the only two pending projects, NextEra and Riverhead Solar 2. Neither has received any approvals, neither is vested. The 660 acres remain in play either way. The local law also indicates that the town entered into an agreement with AKRS for a townwide update to its comprehensive plan in January of this year. Again, the local law states, quote, the influx of these solar energy development applications going forward under the existing policies and procedures will impair the effectiveness of proposed changes under the plan to be developed in conjunction with AKRS, close quote. What influx of applications are you referring to? To our knowledge, Riverhead has not received any new applications in many months. There are only two pending applications, and in my opinion, they most certainly would impair the effectiveness of any anticipated changes in the comprehensive plan if they were allowed to proceed. Further, you can't ignore the industrial development pressure the hamlethood of Calverton is currently experiencing. The possibility of significant environmental impact from a variety of applications can collectively redefine the character of that community. It makes planning sense to consider a broader focus of the moratorium to include all industrial zones within the Calverton hamlet, to re-examine whether the community can absorb the extent of such industrial development currently permitted, and to evaluate the permitted uses within these zoning use districts, especially in light of the redevelopment of EPCAL. For all these reasons, please consider tabling this resolution to rework the language, to provide adequate time to engage your constituents in the Calverton community through the planning process, examine these land use issues, and prepare an updated land use plan that addresses our renewable energy commitments, balanced with other appropriate development options and goals, respective of property rights and reflective of community needs and expectations. I thank you very much for your time and attention.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone want to comment on this? Short?
And I think we have somebody else in the meeting room that's looking to make a comment, right?
Okay,
Or
raise
did
your
some-
hand.
The Citizens Campaign, did you want to make a comment on one of the resolutions before us today?
Yes, thank you very much. I'll be very quick. Much has already been said. My name is Adrian Esposito. I'm the Executive Director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment. I've joined also to strong opposition to the resolution banning solar. I think it was unintended, but it is far too reaching. And in a time when organizations such as my own, but many other stakeholder groups, have really worked very hard to get New York to have very high standards in increasing renewable energy and transitioning away from fossil fuels, we really can't have a town passing an ordinance against renewable energy, and probably the most popular renewable energy source in the history of our country, which is solar power. 10 states are burning. We have record number of storms in the Atlantic. We're supposed to be embracing renewables, not banning them. So kindly, we need you to, work with the stakeholders and perhaps rewriting it or coming up with a plan that is more embracing of allowing renewable energy to advance. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the meeting room looking to comment on resolutions today? Mr. Graham? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Please state your name and hamlet for the record, and you'll be given 5 minutes for comments, after which the town board may comment.
Ed Graham from RiverheadMagazine.com, as well as Manorville Hamlet. Just like to inject myself into this moratorium for solar farms. I believe NextEra should be included. I believe Solar 2 should be included in the moratorium because there's so much that you guys don't know about solar farms right now. And obviously some of your visitors here today are pretty much, a lot of them are pretty naive when it comes comes to this. If you look at California right now, it's burning. You know, the reason why it's burning is, you know, some of these fires are caused by shortages and sparks that are caused by the transmitters that actually transform some of that solar energy into the grid. Also, those solar panels contain hazardous toxic waste, and they're burning, and the air is being filled with this toxic cadmium and all kinds of bad chemicals, and the people, the firemen that are putting out these fires are just inhaling it. It's like stuff that's worse than 9/11 kind of smoke. Besides that, a lot of people don't realize you need petroleum products to actually back up these solar farms. A lot of these running shortages of energy right now are due to the fact that they don't have a backup plan. 80% of the state of California is renewable energy, and right now they don't have a backup. And Newsom actually admitted they have a backup. And that's what's crazy is that they don't have the oil and natural gases to actually back up that system. And here we are, New York, trying to follow California. Why would we do that? Why would we bankrupt our state just to put renewable energies on the plate, and at the same time put us in a position where if there is a storm, a fire, we put our residents in danger of these toxic chemicals, whether it drips into our water supply or whether it burns and gets into the air and ends up causing people with lung, liver, kidney cancers. That's what this stuff causes. And I believe that the town board should really look into this a little bit more before putting their constituent in a position where something like this could be really detrimental to the environment and people. The politicians are supposed to represent the people, not lead the people off. And New York State is choosing to lead people off with this renewable 2035 kind of crap. They're still going to be renewable energy. We need them. So they got this stream going on, and this renewed deal that they're pushing down everybody's throats.
Mr. Graham, this is your 1 minute warning. You have 1 minute left.
Kind of research. Stop. So many resources out there that you could look at that show you all the different problems with solar farms. And I believe that this moratorium needs to look at it. And again, there's a lot of environmental and the progressives, and they're all on board with this because they actually believe that they have the utopian dream that this country could be renewable 100%, and it can't be. It can't be. All I'm saying is the financial burden of New York State with this renewable stuff is crazy. These people are not business
Okay,
people.
Mr. Graham, you have 5
They're
seconds
dreamers.
left to wrap it up.
And if you look at this with common sense, just look at the 110-page email. You will see what everybody else.
Thank you, Mr.
with
Graham, for your
a
comments.
brain
We do
This
appreciate
is how
them.
they react. You can see
ahead,
it on your
Mr.
screen because people have no argument. They know that they're
You can feel
wrong.
free to
They
submit
gotta
any written
project.
comments to the
That's what a
town clerk
progressive
as well.
does, project. And I just
Why is that
implore
not
you
easier?
guys to really look at the danger to the environment that's potential. Look at Orient. It actually took out a brand new solar farm in North Carolina destroyed it. It's not even in the news. Why? Because they keep pushing this agenda that solar was good.
Oh, all right.
They're not even taking pictures of the California fires.
So now it's catching up,
And what
Chip?
they're doing to all the solar
Okay.
farms that are,
So I guess there's some,
and stuck with
Just remove them from the
tons
room
and
in that
tons
way.
of hazardous topics when these things 3 years ago.
Okay, that's great. Anyone
Okay.
else? Raise your hand, please.
anybody else in the meeting room to comment on resolutions before us today?
Okay, hearing no one, moving forward.
Okay.
Diane, can you please call the resolution?
Wait, is nobody else wanting to talk?
Yeah, somebody, Calverton Civic Talk, please, bring it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, somebody come back
Calverton
up.
Civic. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself. You could state your name and hamlet, please, and you'll have 5 minutes to make any comments, after which the town board may respond.
Thank you very much for recognizing me. I did want to wait, and my name is Takwi Turchin. I'm with the hamlet of Calverton. I want to thank all of you for, the town board, for taking the time to read the letter that I submitted from our land use committee with the Calverton Civic from last week. It's a very powerful letter because it speaks to the land use in Calverton currently and for projects that are looking to land in Calverton. And it also speaks to our willingness and desire to shape our community as it fits for 11933, as it fits for Riverhead, as it fits for the East End, and as it fits for all of Suffolk County. I don't think I'm going to read you the entire letter, although I would like it to be heard by the public. I'm just going to paraphrase it, and I should come in nicely under 5 minutes. So loosely, we are looking to coordinate the effort on a master plan update, and we would like to actively participate in that process. As elected officials in our community, you need to consider the impacts of these projects that we've enumerated, which are on the order of something over 6 projects, which do include NextEra and Solar 2. The impacts of these projects on our town and its resources, not one by one as it's done currently, but cumulatively. The need to overhaul the zoning in our community is urgent, and the timing is now more critical. We ask that the town prioritize Hamlet of Calverton for immediate attention in the context of the town's comprehensive plan update scheduled for completion in 2021. You've heard today from several folks, and so have I, that there's great concern over the way that this moratorium language is in the is written, and I echo that concern. I stated before that solar is good, but not if it's vague, and we want it much more nailed down. The concern exists, especially with the 500 new acres of solar alone here in Calverton, that the land use in Calverton is not being considered in a comprehensive fashion. And quite strongly, we will not allow Calverton to become the dumping ground for industrial commercial projects that are not wanted anywhere else on the east end further east. That needs to be kept in mind for the benefit of Riverhead and for the benefit of the east end. We don't want to cut off our nose to spite our faces. And we don't want to say no to the solar. We want to say yes, so this needs to be rewritten. NextEra and Solar 2 must become part of the solar moratorium if it's going to be a moratorium, right? Being considered by the town until a comprehensive and strategic approach to developing solar in our community can be formulated in coordination with the town board. We request that this NextEra and Solar 2 projects be added to the moratorium. Since they have no approved site plans, consideration can and should be given to modifying these proposed developments to more positively impact our community. And also, a moratorium on further industrial development in 11933 zip code until a comprehensive and cumulative approach to zoning and the extent of industrial development in our community can be determined by the residents in coordination with the town board and its hired consultants. So we look forward to exchanging ideas with you, as we wrote in the letter, and I want to state publicly today. We look forward to exchanging ideas with our town officials and with more ability to participate. We look forward to having an active voice with the planning staff and consultants so that we can offer our assistance in making these important decisions. Whatever decisions we make will have a major impact on our community for generations to come. And now is not the time to be short-sighted or parochial in our view and our approach. I thank you very much for your time and your attention and your consideration to the wording of this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the meeting room? Looking to make any comments on any of the resolutions?
Yep, second from left down.
Second from left. Who's that, Chip? I can't read what it says.
Jess Ends.
Jess Ends. If you can hear us, please unmute yourself. If you could state your name on Hamlet for the record, you'll have 5 minutes to make any of your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jessica Ensman, and I am calling in today on behalf of the Sierra Club. I wanted to just quickly state my support for solar and an opposition for this moratorium and urge no. The proposed moratorium on commercial solar energy systems will only serve to jeopardize the ability for the town of Riverhead, its businesses, workers, and farmers to benefit from an important economic opportunity. I would like to thank the town board for receiving our formal letter that now has 23 signatories across many different issue topics and organizations, including labor, agriculture, environment, and faith-based organizations. I just really would appreciate if that letter is read to uplift also what Adrian said, if those stakeholders are also considered. We also talked with the Nature Conservancy, who I know submitted their own comments, and we would love to continue conversations about this and other things with renewables. And I will yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else in the meeting room looking to make comments on the resolutions before us today?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so moving forward, Diane, can you please read the
Can I just say one thing, because I know that the clerk had mentioned that she's received one letter from several organizations, so I'd just like to read the names of the organizations into the record.
Okay.
Rob Carpenter from the Long Island Farm Bureau, Julie Ty, President of New York League of Conservative Voters, Gordian Racky, Executive Director of Renewable Energy Long Island, Jessica Ensman, Long Island Organizer of the Sierra Club, Roger Clayman, Executive Director of the Long Island Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, Shimon Mehta, Executive Director of New York Solar Energy Industries Associates.
If you recuse, you should. Sorry, Dylan.
Okay, I thought he was just voting. He's not adding comment, okay.
Is that all of them? Nope. Isaac Baker, CEO, founder of Resonant Energy. Melissa Parrott, Executive Director, Students for Climate Action. Karen McDermott, Chair of the Long Island Solar and Storage Alliance. Betta Broad, Director of New Yorkers for Clean Power. Marjana Isapor, Director, Renewable Energy and Sustainability Center at Farmingdale State College. And Neil Lewis, Executive Director of the Sustainability Institute at Malloy College. And that's it.
Okay. Catherine, you said you had a comment?
I'm gonna wait, okay, I'm gonna wait till we're voting.
You're gonna wait till you're voting? Okay, that's it? Board, everybody, fine. Okay, finally, Diane.
All right,
The
we all
37th.
set? Okay.
Please read the resolutions, thank you.
Sure. Resolution 464.
Accepts a retirement. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Seem to see more and more police officers retiring from the job today, so thank him for his service, and we say a prayer for all of our police officers and law enforcement that are out there also, because I did not include them in the prayer earlier. Good luck to you.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 465.
Appoints call-in food service workers to the Riverhead Senior Center. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
And on this, I just wanna say that our senior center's doing a great job, and we've doubled the number of Meals on Wheels that we're putting out to our seniors, due to COVID, yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 466.
Ratifies the authorization of sewer district employees to attend seminar. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 467.
Approves leave of absence request. So moved.
Second?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 468.
Approves leave of absence. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 469.
Accepts the resignation of a homemaker. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 470.
Appoints member to the Town of Riverhead Recreation Advisory Committee. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
I want to welcome aboard Justin Winter to the Rec Advisory. He's a great community member and will serve well on our Recreation Committee. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Justin's an excellent find for the Recreation Advisory Committee. My vote is yes.
Giglio.
Ditto and ditto, yes.
Aguirre.
Absolutely yes. Welcome aboard.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 471.
Authorizing removal of fixed asset records from the system. So moved.
Second?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 472.
Fixed asset removal from engineering. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 473.
Adopts a local law to amend Chapter 257 entitled Peddling and Soliciting of the Code of the Town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
I want to thank the Code Revision Committee for their work on this. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 474.
I'd like, before we vote on this, to recuse myself. My family has a sod farm, which Solar 2 is part of, so I'm going to recuse myself.
And I move to, I move to table this. Diane, do I do it after you call it, or?
Yes. Just
Okay.
call it.
I didn't want to get passed over.
All right. Well, we just called 474, so.
Well, that's it. So now
That's
you.
it.
now you
Right.
make a motion.
Now I make a motion? Now's my time?
Yep.
All right, so I move that we table this resolution. Obviously, it's a very complex issue. We've heard from a lot of people in our community, we've heard all different, points of view, and I think it's important that as a board, we take a harder look at this, have discussion about it. I think it would be a good idea to have a discussion about this at a work session, and I think it's premature to move forward with something at this time, so I move to table.
I'll second the table.
Well, I just want to make a note that our zoning maps show the areas classified as industrial A and B and light industrial as solar permitted and special permit use. It is not a large area. This moratorium simply provides an opportunity to examine the economic growth potential for the town industrial use of solar, the ability to create jobs, not short-term but long-term. What is better, solar or industry for the labor and building unions? I don't know, but we need to study it, and I am fully supportive of renewable energy. However, in our town, we pride ourselves on our agricultural heritage. Our code contains dozens of laws to protect farmland, cluster zoning, transfer of development rights, agricultural advisory committee, farmland committee, and a host of other rights and groups to protect our farms. Just like the moratorium state, we are in Suffolk County, and town of Riverhead has witnessed a significant decline in the number of acres in our protected farmland, and I'm proud that we've had in the past aggressive efforts to preserve our agriculture, our TDRs and our farmland. This moratorium does not limit solar as part of energy efficiency programs for businesses, residents, and farms. We are talking about solar farms for commercial use and use of renewable energy that we will never see. The town, before I took office, identified the examination of solar use of property as a key element in the master plan. In addition, Riverhead has hundreds of acres of valuable farmland converted to use already. I have listened to many discussions and even I've seen battles regarding CEQA, failure to supply cumulative impacts on each solar project. I support the moratorium. However, we have received numerous responses through the public hearing process. I ask that this effort be explored immediately, and I'm asking the board if we can look at this within 60 days. I vote no for now. However, I wanted to make it known that we must successfully move solar regardless of where it goes together in zip code 1193. And I just want to make one more note that PS&G at their power substation here in Riverhead has the full authority to expand the solar, the power station. They do not need town approval. In addition, PS&G also owns a great amount of land in Calverton. And third, combine those two efforts with the third effort, if they decide to create a site plan of over 22.9 megawatts, we do not approve that plan, the state does. So it's just something to look at it collectively. We all agree to move this, but I think that we should have some determination. And we are not talking about residences, we're not talking about commercials, we're not talking about farms who you want the farmhouse to have solar. We are talking about solar farm. And I'm gonna vote no for now, but I think this matter should be back up on the calendar for 60 days.
Okay, so there was a motion made to table, I seconded the motion, and now it goes for a vote, so I guess your vote is a no. So we'll just now, I guess, Diane, call the vote, please.
Okay, I will continue. So, Frank has recused himself. Catherine?
Catherine, you vote.
You're
whether or
voting,
not
you want to
table
vote
it.
to table this. So your vote would be yes if you want to vote to table it.
Oh.
You made the motion to table
Yes.
it.
Yes, okay. Hubbard?
I'm gonna table.
I'm very much in favor of a moratorium on solar, that's no secret. After listening, and I want to thank all the people that have written, some have vested interests, which, just like any topic we deal with, we have to sort that out. But we've heard from some concerned citizens, constituents, and residents, and that's what I'm most concerned about. I am in favor of this, but I will agree to table it if we can address, in particular, the allowance of rooftop for commercial. This does not do that, in my opinion. I want to make that clear that we would allow rooftop solar. This is strictly, in my mind, for a solar farm, such as what we have in Calverton right now. I do not want the town of Riverhead to be the mecca of solar. I do not want Calverton to be the mecca of solar. It's too pretty an area to be filled with solar panels, and my concerns that I have stated before is the amount of cadmium that is released into the air and the decommissioning of these solar farms 20 and 30 years from now. I understand they all have decommissioning plans. I understand they put money aside to decommission them. Two things could happen. They could go bankrupt, and that leaves the town holding a pile of solar panels. The most important thing to me is what's going to happen to all these solar panels worldwide. How are they going to be disposed of? Can we bury them in the ground? I doubt it. Can we burn them? I doubt that. How do we get rid of them and get rid of the toxic materials that are in them? That's my biggest concern with solar. So for right now, I will vote to table this resolution till we can look at it, and I don't want to wait 60 days.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get to work on this real soon. We have a lot of people in the community that have voiced their opinion, and we need to address this. So I vote to table this resolution.
Okay. Giglio?
Yeah, I just want to say that I want to agree, and thank you all for your letters. They've been helpful. I look at the community input, and I think it's important that we have a roundtable and we discuss it, and we get the environmental groups, the Farm Bureau, and the community organizations, and especially people from 11933, which is the zip code that I live in, to sit around and talk about this and figure out what it is that you want, because that could be the first area targeted for the master plan update and something that needs to be looked into. I also, you know, the solar projects that we have we took in $1.5 million in community benefit funds that helped us fix the parks. The solar projects don't generate traffic, they don't generate the kids going to school. One of the biggest concerns that we have in the 11933 zip code with all of these pending projects is the amount of traffic and people that it'll bring to the area. I'm a big proponent. I'm a big proponent of property rights. I've been stuck in a moratorium for 2.5 years. I didn't like it. I think property rights are invaluable, especially when you've been paying taxes on this land for many, many years. I read in the farmers, who I have a lot of respect for, that, you know, a lot of them are having a hard time right now, and these solar projects are helping them get through these rough times, and the properties could always go back to farmland 20 years from now. So I think that it's important that we put together a community roundtable sooner than later, and everybody sit down and talk about it. We're not even talking about the jobs, the year or 2 year long jobs during this economic downturn where so many people have lost their jobs. The jobs that these solar projects will generate over the next year, 2 years. And so I think that it's important that we do a roundtable. Catherine and I have been discussing it, and I had also called Tim and Yvette to talk about it, to see if we could table it. Based on all the communication and all the letters that we got at this time, I think we need to sit down and look at it all together and not rush to put this moratorium in place. So I look forward to working with all of you in coming up with good legislation that makes it perfectly clear that solar on rooftops of big box stores or homes or not-for-profits, that all of that is exempt from here. I had also spoken to Sharon Dunnigan, who came up with an excellent suggestion of where 25% of the area of the solar arrays had to be left natural or preserved, that we work with the solar developers to either get that property donated to the town or create connectivity to trails and hiking aspects, and and educational purposes. So I vote to table the resolution, and I look forward to discussing it with you further.
And Supervisor, is there anything further from you?
Yeah, just an addendum to what Jody mentioned, for everybody listening. This Thursday at work session will be the kickoff meeting for the comprehensive plan. Jefferson Murphy, myself, and the people from the company that we hired will be doing a PowerPoint presentation on it. But most importantly, what I wanted to say to this, I think we will have no problem making the 11933 zip code a priority in our comprehensive plan and in addressing the many issues that you're facing right now.
And Diane, I think that the supervisor wanted to vote.
You just called me to vote now.
Yeah. Yes, so.
And when I'd like to say a few more things.
Okay.
But I'll wait. Can I say it after her vote? Yeah, I'll wait a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so going back again, thank you for everyone and your comments. I did read all the comments, and I think we're gonna step back, but we need to address this. As Tim said, we should assess this, come back and try to come up with a reasonable solution. It doesn't mean there is no solar, it's just a stop. It's just, let's take a look. However, those three concerns, PS&G are owning a lot of land in Riverhead, not needing approval to expand their power stations, and not needing a town's approval for large future. It is a little bit of concern, and we're only talking about the 1933. We're not talking again about a commercial establishment. They were talking about farm commercial where you're making money. We're not talking about a residence, a store, and so I am going to agree to table this.
Okay.
For the meantime.
Thank you. That resolution to table 474 is adopted.
I'm gonna grab Frank before we go on.
Yep.
So, well, Jody, I wanted to
Forgot
talk
about him.
about it. It's all right for Frank to be here for that?
I think so, we already voted.
All right. So just a few thoughts on this, and I'm appreciative that we tabled it. I don't think I don't think this was ready to move forward. I'm glad that Tim is saying we're moving along with the master plan update. I think that's really key. I agree with Jody that it's great to have everybody come to the table, and I have taken my time reading through everything that the community has sent to us, looked over everything, and it is good that it's got us to have discussion. It's always good to pause and make careful, informed decisions. In that respect, I felt that the intent of the legislation is to slow the development of commercial solar projects in Calverton area, but it does not achieve that goal. I had a concern that the legislation was not carefully defined, as some people brought up. I think that's something we need to look at. Some may have erroneously believed that we were not allowing solar initiatives such as rooftop solar. Long-range planning is very key to our future in Riverhead, and as elected officials, I feel there are other measures that we should be taking in relation to projects. We need to truly listen to our community, which is something that we're doing today. We've taken in these comments, and now we're going to have discussion on them. We need to be strong advocates for our town in all our dealings and negotiations. There's often an underlying theme in Riverhead as if we are not in the position to ask more of developers. But I believe we can be a business-friendly town and advocate for ourselves. We should be negotiating with solar companies so that these projects truly benefit our residents. We should require environmental impact studies. It's still concerning to me that the project the size of Nextera was not required to do an environmental impact study. Environmental impact studies are done by experts, and they look carefully at impacts such as wildlife, traffic, water, sewer, economics, natural habitats, to name a few. You know, a concern was brought up about the disposal of the panels at some point. A proper environmental study would address that, and that would be addressed in an EIS. Glad to hear that we're moving forward with a comprehensive master plan that will help us navigate our future together. I think that the meetings with the hamlets are vital, and I'm glad that it was brought up that Calverton will be focused on. Of the 10 projects that are pending before the town right now, they're all in Calverton. And last but not least, we need to respect the benefits of renewable energy. Now more than ever, we must reduce the use of fossil fuels and greenhouse emissions by seeking cleaner sources of energy. We can all agree that we live in an aesthetically beautiful area. As stewards of the land, it's vital that we work to protect and maintain our area's natural beauty. Navigating environmental protection and rising economic costs are a delicate balance. As a town, we need to be strong advocates for our town with an eye on the future, economically and environmentally. Just some thoughts I think we need to take into account as we move forward.
And I just want to add one more thing. That's why we have the process that we have, and we have the public hearing, is to determine these kinds of, once the process is over, we could hear and listen to the public. And the process took its place. And thank you for everyone who had input in this regard. Diane, can you continue reading the resolutions, please?
Certainly, thank you. Resolution 475.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding the alleged unsafe structure located at 168 Creek Road, Wading River, Suffolk County, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 0600-29-1-030.001 pursuant to Chapter 217, Part 4 of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
A big yes.
Giglio.
Yes, and this is a Creek Road. This is a structure that we've had problems with in the past, and I'm happy to see that our code enforcement is acting very quickly with our town supervisor to make sure that these blighted houses that really don't help our communities or our market values are cleaned up. So absolutely yes to the public hearing.
Aguirre.
Absolutely. This was a long time coming.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 476.
Classifies action, assumes lead agency, issues negative declaration, and grants administrative approval for the Peconic Bay Medical Center site plan amendment, application 1300 Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number, District 600, Section 108, Block 3, Lot 17.1. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
And I see Andy and Kim up there, and I'm sure that you have other things that you'd rather be doing right now, so yes?
Aguirre.
And Andy, we have to change the address on this resolution. It's now One Heroes Way, right?
Oh, right.
One Heroes Way.
That's
So
right.
Can we get that amendment on this resolution, please?
Yes.
Of Diane,
Yes,
One
we
Heroes
can.
Way.
Yes, we
Good
certainly
catch.
can. I'm sorry, was that a yes from you?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Resolution adopted. Resolution 477.
Grant special permit for the application known as 48 Cromer LLC for a proposed liquid propane storage and distribution facility and industrial facility with accessory office located at 48 Cromer Avenue, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-119-1-32.1. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 478.
Grants preliminary approval for the site plan application known as Eastern Wholesale Fence, Caps Realty Holdings LLC, located at 301 Scott Avenue, Calverton, New York, Suffolk County map number 600-135-.2-161-6. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, long time coming. Thank you, Planning Department, for getting this completed.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 479.
Publish and post notice to bidders for traffic signal emergency repair and additional work as authorized 2020 to 2021. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 480.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a notice to bidders for well and pump service for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 481.
Extends bid for removal of household hazardous waste. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 482.
Awards bid test well program phase 1, installation of groundwater monitoring wells, capital project number 4, Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 483.
Adopts a new records retention and disposition schedule pursuant to the directive of the New York State Board of Regents of the New York State Department of Education. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
1 second.
I know, I'm like, what is this gonna cost?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Giglio.
All I see is that the New York State Board of Regents has mandated that the new records retention and disposition schedule shall be adopted and implemented on or before January 1st, 2021. Is there a cost that's associated with this resolution?
No.
No. Okay. Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 484.
Authorizes the supervisor to sign second addendum to professional services with L.K. McLean Associates for additional work to complete the FCAL subdivision. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Do we have a cap on this?
That's the financial on it.
Says that it won't have a fiscal impact. Bill? Bill, do you know?
This is, Yeah, how about Dawn though?
There has to be a scope and a proposal, and it says that there's no fiscal impact.
Can we continue and come back to this one?
Well, we're already halfway through the vote.
Oh, okay, there she is anyway. Anne Marie? Councilwoman Giglio was, had a question on, resolution 484.
Yes, the
On
cap
Uptown-
is built in to the professional services agreement, which was attached to the resolution.
It is in here, yeah.
So the A-lot subdivision.
So I could let the town board know that these additional maps are required by the DEC.
Yes.
They wanted maps identifying, specifically calling out the endangered habitats for the different species, whether they're birds, tiger salamanders,
So what is the total of all these numbers? Attendance at meetings, town consistency analysis, then it says
well, if you look
they
at
made
the,
amendments, but there's a fee.
right, so if you look at the middle section with respect to this additional mapping, that's capped at, I believe, 5,000.
It is 5,000.
And the other provisions, Councilwoman, actually refer to the remainder of the services if we are successful in getting our WSRR permit that would be necessary to file the final subdivision map with the planning board and the clerk of Suffolk County. And they're specifically written and identified in that manner.
Okay, then next question, where are we getting the money from? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna abstain from this vote, but if you could please get us an Excel spreadsheet showing exactly how much money is in the EPCAL fund, what we've spent over the, just, I'd like to know also what we've spent with LK McLean Associates above, I don't think we've spent anything above the initial contract that we had with them. We've done a couple amendments for
Well,
small changes.
We did for the bicycle trail 2 or 3 times, and we did an amendment round 1 of the WSRR submissions.
So, and they wanted the overlay map. They wanted the overlay map depicting the areas of, which were in the core area, which were the forest lands, which were the wild scenic recreational
Correct.
rivers, and things of that. So,
Correct.
is this resolution to pay for that work that's already been done? Or
No, this is additional work required by the New York State DEC as a result of their 3rd or 4th round
Revision.
of desired revisions.
Yes, this is the, resulted from the recent meeting.
Right. Some of the maps that the DEC required were, they wanted the lots bolded and identified. They wanted legends changed. We're just, the goal, trying to accomplish the goal of getting a permit so that the town board then, perhaps at some future point in time, no matter whom you may select to sell the property to, can sell at least 3 lots.
So where does it say in this resolution that they're gonna hold the same rates for the engineers or for the drafters in the office or anything like that, that we originally approved in the original contract with McLean Associates?
It doesn't, it's a flat fee to accomplish the task.
Well, it says, to the extent additional field work is required, an additional change may be negotiated at a later date, so.
Correct, and that was the same language from the inception of our agreement with them. I do not anticipate any field work, nor have we had them do any additional field work in 6-7 years.
Maria, could this type of work been required for the buyer to pay for in the contract?
Only, they don't have the right to submit on behalf of the municipality a permit for approval.
And then it says we're paying them $1,500 to certify the map, why?
At the very end, yes, for filing with the Suffolk County Clerk. The filing with the Suffolk County Clerk is not, quote, as simple as an endeavor as you may believe.
I've filed hundreds of maps, so I know
Oh,
what's involved.
I know. Well, so then you can appreciate with EPCAL, in order to file the map with the Suffolk County Clerk, we're talking about, because it's such large acreage, about 30 different maps, all in sections and in segments.
So it's fixing old maps that were filed and then
Yeah, it's
amending them?
actually, so currently now, what the town board has reviewed is essentially a 4-page document. The first page of the document is the overall map. Pages 2, 3, and 4 are broken down into 3 segments of the EPCAL property. So you can, it's like a highlight. When you file with the Suffolk County Clerk and you file pursuant to the requirements, the segments are such that, because it's a large piece, it's gonna take 30 maps to file with the clerk. And we're putting that onus on McLean rather than on
a
the
title company who normally does it. Okay. I
And
abstain.
just to dovetail back to Councilwoman Kent's question, if you were to give an applicant the right to submit an application on your behalf, you would be tantamount to giving them, quote, permission to make representations regarding the WSRR that the town may not want to make on behalf of itself as a board or on behalf of members of the public who, in this case with EPCAL, have clearly expressed definitive opinions regarding preservation of the environment, water quality, and a whole host of other issues which actually are very much related to the wild scenic recreational rivers. So.
Okay. Thank you.
So Jody, you were abstaining?
Correct.
And Aguirre?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution adopted. Resolution 485.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with County of Suffolk Office for the Aging, AAA Transportation Program. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 486.
Authorizes the supervisor to sign consent to access to property agreement to allow Department of Navy access for purposes of additional investigation regarding the release of per and polyfluoroalkyl fluoroalkyl substances.
That's a good shot.
Second.
I should have practiced ahead of time. I think he did good.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 487.
Authorizes a one-year renewal to the professional services agreement with Q and Forth Development, Inc., QED. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 488.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement authorizing the town to accept funds from Suffolk County Office for the Aging to supplement the town's residential repair program for the elderly. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 489.
You're gonna wait a couple minutes here.
Oh, boy.
Because these county contracts are so long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 488, look how big it was.
Yeah.
Huge.
Authorizes nunc-pro-tunc, effective July 1st, 2020, professional services agreement between Town of Riverhead and Vehicle Tracking Solutions for automated vehicle location and monitoring. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes, I use the same exact automation for my trucks, yes. Good
Kent.
company.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, this is for the Highway Department.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 490.
Authorizes the supervisor to agreement for Eagle Scout project at Wells Family Cemetery. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, thank you, Corey Allen, for your work and what you're going to do there.
Giglio.
Yeah, it's great that all these Eagle Scouts spend so much time improving our properties and our town, so thank you, Corey. Yes.
Aguirre.
Corey, I can't wait to see your finished project. Make sure you let us know as soon as it's done. Yes.
Just a question, do we know that this is this Wells family related to Lyle's family or no?
I believe it now.
No?
It's not the
Not
Epcal Trail, it's
immediately.
the
Not
old.
No, I know where it is. I didn't know if there was a family
Right,
connection
I
there.
don't believe so.
But it goes back to
I know.
1600, so that, you're not
I
gonna say
don't-
it's an immediate cut.
That's why, yeah.
Because it goes all the way back to 1600.
I'm sure they are, yeah.
Yes.
Where's Richard Wines when you need him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
He would know.
We'll be answering that question. Somebody will give it to him.
Okay. Resolution 490 is adopted. Resolution 491.
Authorizes license agreement with Riverhead Volunteer Ambulance Corps for the use of Riverhead Senior Center Activity Recreation Room for EMT course instruction. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 492.
Pays the bills, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. And we have a resolution that we are going to
Yes.
untable, is that correct?
I have it here. It's resolution 2020-349.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read it, unless you want to read it. Diane?
No, go right ahead.
Read it. Resolution and consent approving the dedication of the highways known as Berman Boulevard, Scott Avenue, Janway, and David Court in the subdivision known as Calverton Camelot 2. This was tabled at the last session, and I'd like to call a vote for it.
You need a second, right?
Second to untable.
I'll second.
Okay, so, Bayrock. Now, this is
Yeah.
to untable.
Yeah. Oh, not on the,
vote.
not
That's
us.
done table.
Okay,
This
just
is
on
to
table.
yes.
Yes.
Kent.
I'm gonna make an ethics statement. I guess I make that at the regular vote then.
So this is just on, yeah,
Untable it.
okay, so was that a yes to
Yes to
untable?
untable.
Okay. Hubbard.
To attorney gets
Yes.
it.
Giglio.
Yes, to untable.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Okay, now we will call resolution 349 for the vote. Anybody wanna?
Hubbard?
Sure. Resolution and consent approving the dedication of highways known as Berman Boulevard, Scott Avenue, Janway, and David Court in the subdivision known as Calverton Camelot 2. So moved.
And I'll second it.
Vote please.
Okay, Bayrock.
Okay, so we are bound to do this by law. But I just want to say, and we have a great highway department, and I want to make sure that when we assume other areas for the services of the highway department, that they have the tools and the manpower necessary to get that done, so that services throughout the town don't suffer. So I am voting yes on this, but I hope that we'll work closely with the highway department to make sure they get up to speed to be able to adopt these new streets.
Okay. Kent?
So at a directive of the Ethics Board, I make statements in regards to Mr. Kent on all of his projects. I believe I have made a statement on this project, but just for safekeeping, I'm going to say today that Christopher Kent is my ex-husband. Our divorce was final as of 2013. We do not have any business dealings, and I do not stand to gain financially from decisions made in reference to his clients. Our 3 children are adults, and our divorce was amicable. I vote yes.
And Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes, long time coming. The occupants within the park will be happy that they can count on the town and the highway department and the excellent job that they do to plow the roads and to maintain them, so, yes.
Aguirre?
Yes, and just to add to Frank's statement, yes, we do, whenever someone needs essential services, especially under COVID, there is a platform for it. It's called executive session. It's to discuss personnel, and we have discussed this in the past, and we are giving the highway department 2 employees, and I met with him today also, and we should be okay for now. And it's a constant process as employees leave and replacement. But they were in interviews 2 weeks ago, and that process is in place. I vote yes.
Okay, Resolution 349 is adopted.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Okay, at this point, we will open up this meeting for public comments on any other matter. Devin, is anyone in the meeting room for?
Yes, we have a couple people in the meeting room, but I'm gonna just go ahead and make the statement that we made earlier. I'm gonna just repeat it for any of the folks that are with us in the meeting room now that may not have been here before. So, members of the public are reminded that comments may be heard on public hearings, resolutions, and open comments on any matter related to the town. Further, while we remain under a state of emergency due to COVID-19 and public participation during town board and CDA meetings is being accomplished via Zoom, comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note, the 5-minute comment period is just that. It is a 5-minute window in which members of the public may let their voices be heard on a subject or subjects, but it is not a forum for back and forth dialogue, questioning, and debate. Once called upon and unmuted, members of the public must state their name and hamlet, then we'll have 5 minutes to speak. Once finished, or after 5 minutes has passed, whichever happens first, that person will be placed back on mute, and members of the town board may or may not respond directly to those comments. While New York State open meetings law clearly states that it does not require the public body to offer the public an opportunity to be heard, this administration seeks to let the public be heard despite the limitations posed by COVID-19. So, having said all that,
Can you please raise your hand, unmute yourself?
okay.
I think Graham is
So-
back. And we see Foley?
Right? Okay, Mr. Foley, if you want to go ahead and again state your name and hamlet for the record. Again, you'll have 5 minutes to make your comments.
Good afternoon, Mike Foley from Reeves Park. You know, the COVID pandemic has clearly turned the world upside down. It's difficult to do anything with any sense of normalcy. The 2 things that I'd just like to address briefly is in direct relationship to the problems we're having with COVID. Yvette, you've been carrying on a tradition in your term of having quarterly Civic Association roundtables. And I believe we had one back in April in a Zoom meeting. Not the easiest thing, but hopefully it's getting easier as we get more familiar with the Zoom process. I was wondering if you've had a chance to take a look at your calendar to find out when you could put the Civic Association roundtable together again. And the second thing, because the way the rules are being explained now, we really can't go into a dialogue. I just have to state my comments and questions and hope that you guys answer them. The second thing has to do with the traffic on Sound Avenue. We were bumper to bumper last week. I think the state has done a prudent thing to try and extend the summer season in Long Island. I wholeheartedly support that effort. I want to see people get out here with wallets to spend their money on our local businesses, farms and vineyards and restaurants. But having bumper-to-bumper traffic makes that more difficult to do. It's not efficient for the businesses, and it would actually curtail repeat visits that personally I hope continue into 2021. I don't think we want to look at the pumpkin season as an end-all for our community. I think we need to keep getting people out here for the foreseeable future if our small businesses have any chance at all of surviving this pandemic. So in that vein, I know last year the town board and the police departments and other towns coordinated an effort to try and ease the flow of traffic on Sound Avenue. We established a middle lane by Hobbs Farm that was coordinated again by traffic control police, and it absolutely had a positive impact on traffic. I wanted to know if there was a time frame of reinstating all of the traffic efforts that we have done in the past as soon as possible, so we can ease the flow of traffic, get more people out here to spend their money. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I'm glad you brought up, that point. Actually, last night I had a meeting with the Ag Advisory, and they were asking me if we were continuing with the same, mitigation measures for traffic, that were used last year, because they were successful. So I'm assuming that those measures are continuing?
Yes, and unfortunately, they started early, obviously
Yeah,
now.
the traffic did start
Yeah,
earlier.
and so, I think they did a pretty good job last weekend. I know that they directed traffic. I don't know the full extent of what street, but I know that they were out there. I did hear them out there. I did see them out there. And, it's a problem right now. A lot of the people that were here for the summer, they're still camping out. We've seen, I think that
Literally,
Southampton.
in the DSW parking lot.
Yes, we had a camper there, we actually had, yeah, they set up a 55-gallon tank of gasoline, they had TV, they had, a patio set for eating outside, and they actually came back that following Sunday, and, they were finally sent on their way, but I think they will be coming back. So once we identify those areas, we usually make them what's called special attention until we make sure that and you know this better than us, right, Tim? Until we make sure the condition is corrected, and, yes, it is a problem, we're gonna look on that. Mike, you also talked about, the 5-minute comments, that is usually, protocol we are following, and we're gonna enhance soon. We're having a little difficulty where in this meeting, you can speak on 3 occasions, who's who, raise your hand. So, today we enhanced the Zoom component where everybody can go into the waiting rooms if you're gonna talk about, the resolutions or at the end of the comments. So we're in the middle of enhancing it, but, as, the deputy town, supervisor said, we're trying to contain, keep it, not go back and forth, and sometimes things get accusatory and so forth, and what we wanna do is, ensure that the decorum is here and, everyone near us is following these same protocols, and we're just adjusting them. Concerning the meeting, yes, one is scheduled. I have received, within the last week, a couple of requests, and, you know, I'll be reaching out to you, and, we will have, it'll probably be again, it'll be by Zoom, and, I think I answered all your 3 questions. Anybody want to add to this?
I know for sure that there was a traffic control officer in front of Garden of Eve this weekend, and it did help to mitigate some of the traffic at that intersection of 105 and Sound Avenue, so I think that was very helpful.
Yes, I did see them out there. I actually went out. That got caught in traffic, but I also saw it somewhat moving back and forth, so.
Yep, and I wanna give a big shout out to Local 1298 for coming to our police department and training our traffic control officers for safety on the roads when they're congested and for moving traffic along. And I support getting the TCOs out there, especially now that pumpkin season is, here and pumpkins are out.
Well, and the key is that spot in front of, if any of you have ever been in the traffic, which I have, The key is that spot in front of Harbs, where that extra lane really made a difference, 'cause once you get past Harbs, you're moving again.
Yeah, and I understand it's
Until you
fault.
get to the next one.
Oh.
On Southwold.
I don't know how bad of a problem we're gonna have, because according to the, governor's guidelines, they only, supposed to operate it at a 33%. So we'll see, and they have personally been instructed by the chief, we went to see them last Thursday, and told them that they need to, follow the, 33% guideline. So we'll see how that goes.
And I did attend that webcast.
Oh, you did, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else on comments?
Yep, I think we have a couple more people. Sharon, if you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and make comments. If you'd state your name, please, and Hamlet, you'll have 5 minutes to make your comments.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, this is Sharon Dunnigan. I'm from the town of Riverhead, hamlet of Calverton.
Hi.
And I just want to say that the explosion of use at the Calverton Trail this year has been outstanding. We have just had so many people who have used our community center there, the Veterans Memorial Park, and the public path there. It's just been wonderful, and it has just been a boon to people who've been locked in their houses to be able to go out and get some fresh air in a really safe environment. And I applaud all of our public officials who were responsible for making that happen. It has just been wonderful. I do have some concerns heading into the fall season and winter, because in the past, the path has been closed to use December through, I believe, February for hunting season.
No, it's just
And
January.
I was wondering if there was a way that we could maintain a portion of the path to be open during those throughout hunting season. There's that stretch that runs parallel to 25 that, you know, if someone's hunting there, obviously that's right next to the road, so that would be unsafe for motorists as well. So, you know, to keep that section of the path open that's running parallel to 25, that would be helpful. I'm just concerned because I believe that, you know, there has been a great community engagement in that facility, and I just hate to see it completely shut down during the winter months. And obviously the usage will be lower, but it's also still an opportunity for people to get out and get some fresh air. So I appreciate you taking my comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Sharon, the trail is only going to be shut down for the month of January. That's all it's been in the past few years for the hunting season. The trail is open when hunters are there in December, but that's for bow season. In January, it becomes shotgun season, and for the month of January, the trail is closed to everybody, as shotgun carries much more distance and power to it than the bow. The town feels it's obligated to make it as safe as it can for people, so it will be closed for the month of January. But December and February, it's certainly open. We just highly recommend and prohibit anybody from going off the trail into the woods, because there will be deer hunters, bow hunters in the woods during that time period, and we do not want anybody off the trail itself, although the trail will be open.
Right, and we've tried to shut off just sections of the trail and allow people to use some of it for the last 10 years since that first 3-mile section has been built. And it's proven to be problematic because some people you give an inch and they take a mile, and literally they would take a mile and just drive right past the barriers that said, you know, stop here. So that's why the town board, and under the advisement of our town attorney, had to shut it down for January for shotgun season.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we're going to jump to the caller. The digits ending in 1714. We can't tell if you're trying to make a comment or not, so we're just going to unmute you and give the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, is that?
So 1714, I think it's Barbara Blass. If you wanted to make a comment, since you're on the phone, we can't get an indication from you.
Okay,
Looks
so
like you're
let's
not
go-
unmuting, so we'll move to the next one.
Let's go with John McAuliffe.
Nope,
Oh,
Oh,
no,
there
she's
she
on
is.
now.
Okay.
no comment, but thank you for asking.
Okay, Barbara. All right, let's go to John.
Okay, John McAuliffe. Name and hamlet again for the
John,
record. And
unmute, lower.
you can unmute yourself.
There we go.
John McAuliffe, Rolling Woods and Riverhead. This, I guess, is chapter 2 of the comments. During your very hard work, I looked at the contract, looked at zoning and other documents, and I think the question still has to be answered as to your positions on gambling, because it's very clear in those documents that the door is wide open. The language in the contract, the purchaser shall redevelop the property consistent with the uses permitted in the planned development zoning district and substantially consistent with the intended development plan, except as otherwise approved by the applicable government bodies. Primary emphasis shall be on the development of aviation technology and supportive uses in addition to those uses permitted under Town Code 301-341. Now, that section, which is in addition to those uses, is fairly broad. It includes all uses that promote economic development shall be permitted in the PD district, including but not limited to industrial, institutional, educational, governmental, recreational, conservation, manufacturing, renewable and alternative energy, so on, and storage and demand response resource. At any rate, the point is that this is not even limited to those things, but there are some prohibited things that can be done, including housing and a certain kind of airport function. But otherwise, I think, I'm not going to ask you to answer those questions again, but I think it is also, I will send you these sections from the documents, and I also think it's worth your relooking at the development plan, because one notices that most of the specifics in the development plan relate to the now non-existent Illuminati. So all of those other potential options are there, and as I recall, I mean, this is just from memory, but I recall that we did try to press the Germaisians to agree that gambling would not be a use of the land, and they refused to do that. So I think that it's not there are different opinions about the yeas and nays of gambling and its effect on the town, but I think it is an issue that will have to be addressed in a serious way, and that there's nothing in the zoning or in the contract that would prohibit such a use.
Okay, thank you.
John, I don't think, I can't speak for the board, but personally myself, there's no interest in having gambling there. There's never been a discussion about that. I think people are trying to fit pieces together just to make it look like it could possibly happen there, but no indication from the board or the town or any discussions we've had in the contract or with the Q&E, nothing involves gambling. I certainly would not support a casino there. The intended use is what is still being sought after. I've spoken to somebody recently who indicated that they are still pursuing that type of technology with the aviation and engine building and things along that line. So I was very glad to hear that. And like I said, there's no room for gambling up at EPCAL.
And I'll piggyback on what Tim said. I have absolutely no interest in a casino or gambling. It would not be good for our area. At EPCAL, what I'd like to see is technology jobs, industry, and, well-paying jobs for our locals.
And I agree with both of you, the, area is zoned for aerial space and, technology jobs, and that's where it's gonna stay.
Yep,
And,
that's what I
I don't
voted
know,
for.
Frank, did you wanna add to it?
Yeah, I'm hoping for, jobs in the, you know, aviation technology field. That's what I'm hoping for, yep.
And, you know, people make speculations, and it's good, you know, sometimes it's good coffee talk. However, right now, it's not even a thought in my mind.
No, and you answered the question yourself when it says in the contract that any change other than what they presented at the qualified and eligible would have to come back to the governing body to make a decision. And I can't imagine a governing body saying it's okay without the public hearing or hearing from the community.
Okay, now we have one more person we haven't heard from, correct?
Okay.
Anybody else?
Ellen Hoyle, did you want to make a comment? You can go ahead and unmute yourself and state your name and hamlet, of course, for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to make all your
I
comments.
thought this person spoke before.
No.
Oh.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead, New York. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you can.
Okay. I had a couple of comments that I wanted to make, and I'm not expecting any back and forth. On August 8th, the Star Tribune released an article stating the 555 had entered into a cash management agreement to avoid foreclosure on its properties. Given the nature of that and the fact that the 555 group now seems to be cash strapped, I would hope that the town would relook at the contract, and I'm sure John McAuliffe would agree that there is a clause in the contract that allows the property to be sold the day after the contract is signed. So I hope that as people who are familiar with the contract, you would take that into consideration, because once the property is sold, it can be sold to somebody who can then turn it into a gambling casino if it is purchased on behalf of somebody for the trust of an Indian reservation. The town does not have to approve it. It goes to the state. The town has nothing to say about it. My second comment has to do with, there was a protest last week, or I think the week before, at Port Jeff involving traffic. It's my understanding that this weekend there is an additional planned one between Riverhead and Greenport, and I hope the town is taking precautions to avoid traffic buildup and any disruption in traffic caused by it. Third, my other comment is, again, as the entire state is reopening other than New York City, I still don't understand why we're having these meetings at 2 o'clock in the afternoon rather than at 6 o'clock as they had previously been. The only consideration I could see is trying to avoid people to be at these meetings. There's no reason you can't hold a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock in the evening. So those are my only comments for today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you. Anybody want to comment?
Anybody else want to make a comment? Mr. Graham? Go ahead, you can state your name and hamlet again, and of course, you'll have 5 minutes for comments.
Hey, this is Graham, riverheadmagazine.com, as well as Hamlet Menlo. And I just want to add to, you know, the whole solar farm concept here, because I think a lot of people, you know, there was a lot being zealots here, a lot of college kids, but, you know, suspected to vet, because the vet Joint Task Force for Terrorism, you know, this is an article, I don't know, seeing on the phone, but this is an article that just came out in July 23rd, and it's a cyber attack against solar energy systems. And this is what's been going on, especially in California. They list a number of different cyber attacks that have happened in California that have actually shorted inverters, and they've actually gained access to their grid. So a lot of these people that the green environmental zealots, that's fantastic, but there's a bigger issue here. Are we willing to put our constituents in a position where they may be in a blackout for days, weeks? You know, this is not California, we're New York. In the middle of winter, if we have a cyber attack on our grid, on these solar systems, which are Wi-Fi accessible, if you just read on. I mean, just in, it just says here, in May 2019, the first U.S. cyber attack against the solar and wind energy company took place in Utah. You know, there's a company, Germany found 21 security flaws in solar power systems. So this is the research that has to be done, because in the middle of winter, if you have a rolling blackout and people don't have heat, you know, this is much different than California. California, they could survive without heat, you know? New York, if you got no heat, you die. And these are things that you should really take into consideration when you're turning our whole power grid to solar. That's what New York State wants. Totally solar by 2035 or whatever this stupid thing is, which is impossible. It's nonsense. And the people that are pursuing this really don't think this out. Look at California right now. They don't have power. They are sitting in their houses. They have no air conditioning. They have nothing. No food, no refrigeration. Why? Because they went all solar. They have no backup. No backup whatsoever. And Newsom even admitted he made a mistake. So here we are in New York, following Cuomo's Green New Deal, and there's no solutions to it. There's no backups. If you take away the fossil fuels, and a blackout happens or a hack attack happens, and they render our energy useless on the East End, could you imagine what the chaos that would create? Just think about this. I mean, that's why these moratorium, it's not just for environmental purposes. You got to take the big picture approach to what they're actually trying to do to the East End of Long Island. And it's very concerning that everything's being pushed through so fast without even looking at California. Wait to see what happens in California, how they deal with it. All the waste, all the solid toxic waste, all the units that are just sitting there on land that they can't even get rid of. You can't even send it to a third world country anymore because the third world countries are refusing it. It's actually cheaper for them to get new panels than it is to take our 80% efficient panels. You gotta take a big look at this. I mean, the people that you had on now, college kids, green zealots from Sierra Club and the Progressive Coalition, they're force-fed this information. They don't have any critical thinking. Think this out. Yvette, you should know this. You know the danger.
Mr. Graham, you have 30
them
seconds
taking
left.
out a grid.
30 seconds left.
So that's what I employ. Take a bigger picture, take a bigger look at this, and really make a good decision, you know? I mean, it affects a lot of people. That's my piece. Not that
Okay.
anybody watched it, but.
All right.
And I just want to say, we had some very knowledgeable people that came in today and weighed in and sent us some very fine letters, so, I wouldn't like to portray them in that way.
Okay, anybody else in the meeting room? I think that's everybody.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah.
No more comments?
Kevin, do you want
I
to
guess
check
there's
with
one
Kevin
more.
Casey, because he's been here the whole time.
Mr. Casey, were you looking at?
Kevin?
Yes. Oh, Kevin, not Devin.
Yeah, let's unmute him, see if he wants to talk, and then I think everybody else spoken. Oh, he's got to unmute himself?
Yeah, Mr. Casey, if you want to make a comment, you
If
could
you're
go ahead and
looking.
unmute yourself.
Okay.
No? All right.
Yeah, he didn't realize we were calling him. Okay, this, ends our public comment section. Can I have a first and a second to close this town board meeting, please?
Motion?
Second.
All opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, not Jody, huh? So moved.
She wants to stay here.
Yeah.